There are habits you can't explain, urges that appear out of nowhere, pulling you toward things you don't fully understand. You've tried to stop them, hide them, silence them, but they keep returning. What if these addictions were never meant to be your enemy? What if heaven placed them inside you because of who you're becoming? Before you judge yourself for the things you struggle with, pause. There are impulses inside you that feel unsettling, contradictory, and even confusing, yet something in you knows they're not accidents. Chosen one. The behaviors you label as flaws are often the very signs that heaven is rewiring your spirit for a destiny your mind has not caught up to yet. These silent addictions don't appear out of chaos. They rise from a deeper place, a spiritual engine running beneath your everyday life, pushing you toward a version of yourself that is stronger, clearer, and far more aligned with God's purpose. You feel the shifts, the urges, the sudden inner storms, and you wonder, what's wrong with me? But the truth is far more powerful. These patterns are not symptoms of weakness. They are indicators of awakening. When God prepares a chosen one, He doesn't always announce it. He hides the transformation inside cravings for change, urges to detach, sudden bursts of clarity, and unexplained spiritual hunger. And while the world misreads you, heaven knows exactly what it planted in your soul. Today, we expose 7 silent addictions that chosen ones develop without realizing what they truly are. Divine mechanisms designed to strengthen your spirit, sharpen your perception, and ready you for the assignment waiting ahead. Not to shame you, not to guilt you, but to reveal the spiritual engineering behind your evolution. Before we go deeper, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and comment 99. That number carries the vibration of divine completion, a sign that what God began in you is about to accelerate. The first addiction is the addiction to constant self-improvement, a relentless inner pull that refuses to let you stay where you are, no matter how comfortable or familiar that place may be. While others settle into routines and call it stability, something inside you grows restless the moment your spirit senses stagnation. You crave expansion, you crave evolution, you crave the next version of yourself, even before you fully understand who that version will be. Books, new skills, deep reflection, emotional upgrades, spiritual breakthroughs. You don't pursue these things casually. You pursue them compulsively, almost instinctively, as if your soul is chasing a future it has already seen. This hunger for growth is not ambition. It is assignment. It is God planting a fire within you that refuses to dim, a divine tension that makes staying the same feel like a spiritual suffocation. Every time you level up your mindset, your habits, your routines, your standards, you're not just improving, you're aligning. You're stepping closer to the blueprint heaven wrote for you long before you took your first breath. And though this addiction can feel exhausting at times, it is also the force that turns ordinary chosen ones into leaders, healers, innovators, visionaries. It trains you to operate with resilience when others fold. It strengthens your character in seasons where comfort could have weakened you. It creates unstoppable momentum that keeps pushing you upward, even when your circumstances try to pull you back. And the deeper truth is this: every time you rise, someone you haven't met yet is being prepared to rise with you. Your growth is not just your own, it is the spark that will ignite something far greater, and that ignition is closer than you think. The second addiction is the addiction to walking away, a pattern so swift and unapologetic that people often interpret it as coldness, when in reality, it is one of the most advanced spiritual defense mechanisms a chosen one possesses. You don't cling, you don't beg, you don't bargain with chaos. The moment something begins to feel misaligned, a relationship, a job, a routine, a conversation, even a version of yourself, something inside you snaps awake and whispers, "It's time to move." And you move, not out of pride, not out of rebellion, but because your spirit senses danger long before your mind can articulate it. You were not built to decay in environments that cannot sustain your calling. You were not designed to suffocate in spaces where your light is dimmed, your intuition ignored, or your destiny delayed. So you detach quickly, instinctively, almost surgically, as if heaven programmed a switch inside your soul that flips the moment your growth is threatened. What others call giving up, God calls spiritual evacuation. While they see abandonment, heaven sees acceleration. Every door you closed protected you from a future you were never meant to experience. Every exit you made redirected you towards something larger than your comfort zone could ever hold. And perhaps the most misunderstood part of this addiction is how calm you feel afterward. No guilt, no regret, no emotional residue. That peace isn't indifference, it's confirmation. It's God showing you that you didn't lose anything. You escaped something. But here's the part almost no one realizes. Every time you walk away, you're not just leaving something behind, you're stepping closer to a divine intersection where your purpose, your timing, and your identity will collide in a way that changes everything. And that collision is closer than you think. The third addiction is the addiction to silence in moments of conflict. A response so controlled and unsettling that it confuses everyone around you. When most people explode, defend themselves, or rush to prove a point, you do the opposite. You go still. You shut down the noise inside you. You withdraw into an inner chamber no one can access, and you let silence speak for you. Outsiders label this as weakness, passivity, or emotional shutdown. But what they fail to understand is that your silence is not emptiness. It is elevation. It is the moment your spirit rises above the human argument and begins scanning the spiritual battlefield behind it. While they see a disagreement, you sense a hidden intention. While they hear harsh words, you hear wounded souls projecting their pain. While they react to the surface, you discern the root. Your silence becomes a shield, a filter, a spiritual firewall that prevents you from absorbing the chaos others try to drag you into. Rage lowers your frequency, but stillness raises it. And you've learned, sometimes painfully, that you cannot afford to fight battles designed to distract you from your assignment. So you hold your fire. You breathe. You observe. You let God reveal what the moment is really trying to expose. Every second you stay silent is a second your discernment sharpens. Every moment you refuse to react is a moment your spirit listens for divine instruction. Silence becomes your strategy. Precise, intentional, and powerful enough to disarm anyone who expected you to crumble. And what they never expect is that your silence doesn't just protect you, it exposes them. It unveils motives, uncovers truth, and brings hidden agendas to the surface without you lifting a single word. But there is something even more profound. One day, the same silence they mocked will be the silence that announces your rise. And that rise is already forming in the shadows, preparing for a moment they will never see coming. The fourth addiction is the addiction to observing people deeply, a silent skill you never trained for but somehow mastered. The moment you enter a room, your senses activate like a spiritual radar. You read faces before words are spoken. You catch the hesitation in someone's voice, the tension in their shoulders, the flicker in their eyes that betrays what their smile tries to hide. You notice who looks away too fast, who watches too long, who speaks with sincerity, and who performs with intention. This isn't paranoia, it's perception. A form of spiritual intelligence God crafted inside you long before you understood its purpose. While others rely on what people say, you rely on what people reveal when they think no one is paying attention. You decode energy fields, emotional frequencies, and unspoken motives with an accuracy that even you sometimes find unsettling. But this addiction isn't random, it's refinement. God made you highly observant because your calling requires a level of discernment that cannot be fooled by attractive lies or polished masks. You were designed to spot danger before it strikes, betrayal before it bites, manipulation before it molds you. This ability protects your path, your peace, and your purpose. And the deeper revelation is this: you don't just observe what people do, you observe who they become in your presence. Some shrink, some shift, some reveal truth they didn't mean to expose. Your spirit draws out authenticity and exposes intention without you saying a single word. It's why people feel nervous around you without knowing why. It's why they act differently, more cautiously, almost as if they know their soul is being scanned. And while this gift often isolates you, it also equips you for connections that are real, aligned, and spiritually safe. But here's the twist. The more you see, the harder it becomes to unsee. And soon, what your eyes reveal will force you into decisions that alter the direction of your life. Decisions that are approaching faster than you realize. The fifth addiction is the addiction to sudden life resets. A pattern so dramatic and unpredictable that even you sometimes question where the impulse comes from. One day you wake up and everything inside you feels expired. Your hair, your clothes, your routine, your surroundings, even certain relationships. All of it suddenly feels too small for the person you're becoming. And without hesitation, you change. Not slowly, not over weeks or months. Overnight, you cut your hair, you shift your style, you purge your space, you rewrite your goals, you reinvent your identity as if shedding an old skin that no longer carries your spirit. People around you call it impulsive, erratic, inconsistent. But deep down, you know it's something else entirely. It's rebirth. It's spiritual maintenance. It's the moment your soul informs your body, this version of you has completed its assignment. It's time to evolve. Chosen ones don't wait for life to force transformation. They sense the spiritual expiration date before the physical world catches up. These resets are not random. They are divine evacuations from stagnant energy. Each shift breaks lingering attachments. Each transformation releases emotional residue. Each sudden change lifts you out of timelines that no longer align with your destiny. And every time you strip something away, something new rises in its place. Clearer, stronger, more aligned with the path God is guiding you toward. What others see as instability is actually spiritual agility. You move when heaven moves. You evolve when heaven signals. And because of that, you're always one step ahead of environments that would have trapped you if you hesitated. But here is the hidden truth that even you might not have realized. Every reset is preparing you for one final, monumental transformation. A shift so profound that the person you're becoming will barely resemble the person you once were. And that shift is already rumbling beneath the surface. The sixth addiction is the addiction to high standards, a relentless inner demand that pushes you far beyond what the world considers normal. You don't just want people to do better. You expect yourself to rise higher, think clearer, love deeper, move cleaner, and live with a level of integrity that makes others uncomfortable. It's not pride. It's not perfectionism. It's spiritual wiring. Something inside you refuses to settle for half effort, half truths, half love, or half growth. You feel physically out of place in environments where mediocrity is tolerated, where loyalty is negotiable, or where people say one thing and live another. While others shrug and say, "It's good enough," your spirit whispers, "No, you were built for more." And that whisper never stops. It shapes how you work, how you speak, how you love, how you show up in the world. People often accuse you of being demanding, intense, or hard to please. But what they don't understand is that these standards are not preferences. They are protection. High standards filter your circle long before betrayal ever reaches you. They repel people who want access without responsibility, admiration without respect, or presence without purpose. They expose who was never meant to stay. They reveal who was only meant to observe you from a distance. And perhaps most importantly, your high standards hold you accountable to the greatness God placed within you. They keep you from shrinking into old identities. They prevent you from sabotaging your calling. They ensure that every room you enter, every conversation you entertain, every connection you allow, contributes to the person you're becoming, not the person you've outgrown. But here is the deeper revelation. The more you honor your standards, the more heaven elevates your path. Because God will never place a chosen one in a position of influence if they tolerate what weakens their anointing. Your standards are the gatekeepers of your destiny, and soon, they will become the very reason a door opens for you that no one else around you was qualified to enter. A door that is already turning its handle from the other side. The seventh addiction is the addiction to deep emotional withdrawal, a pattern so sudden and complete that it often leaves people around you confused, worried, or offended. One moment you're present, engaged, giving your energy, your guidance, your compassion, and the next, you vanish. No calls, no replies, no explanations. You slip into a silence so absolute it feels like you disappeared into another dimension. And in a way, you did. Because when your spirit becomes overstimulated, when the energy around you grows heavy, chaotic, demanding, or insincere, something inside you pulls the emergency brake. Your soul signals, "Retreat now." And you obey without hesitation, not out of avoidance, but out of protection. Emotional withdrawal is not your weakness, it is your sanctuary. It is the divine moment when heaven gathers your scattered pieces and brings them back into alignment. While the world interprets your absence as disinterest, God uses it as a chamber of restoration. In that silence, your mind declutters, your intuition resets, the spiritual fog lifts, you reconnect to the frequency you were originally designed to carry. A frequency too sacred to be drowned out by constant noise or emotional demands. You heal in places no one can see. You recharge in dimensions no one can reach. And you return only when your spirit feels stable enough to stand without collapsing under the weight of others' expectations. But here's what almost no one understands. Your withdrawals are not simply about rest. They are about discernment. Every time you disappear, something or someone is being revealed. A hidden motive becomes clear. A false connection loses its power. A spiritual assignment becomes unmistakable. Withdrawal is your diagnostic tool. It shows you who panics, who respects your space, who tries to control you, who prays for you, who mirrors your silence, and who is only connected to you for what you provided, not for who you are. And as each revelation unfolds, your path becomes sharper, purer, and more aligned. Because one day soon, the version of you that emerges from your next withdrawal will be stronger, more illuminated, and more unshakable than any version that existed before. And that transformation is already approaching its breaking point. Chosen one, pause for a moment and truly feel the weight of what is happening inside you. Every silent battle, every unexplained urge, every shift that pulled you away from who you once were. These were not random storms. These were not emotional malfunctions. These were the whispers of heaven rearranging your inner world long before your outer world caught up. You were being shaped in secrecy, sculpted in isolation, refined in moments where no one applauded, and transformed through impulses that pushed you into unfamiliar territory. These addictions were never curses. They were codes. Divine instructions embedded into your spirit to guide you through seasons you didn't yet understand. You weren't losing yourself. You were shedding the layers that could not survive the elevation God was preparing for you. The confusion you felt was the cracking of an old identity. The restlessness was the birth of a new assignment. The discomfort was the stretching of spiritual muscles meant to carry the weight of a destiny larger than your past could have contained. Heaven doesn't forge ordinary vessels. Heaven forges chosen ones, and chosen ones are built differently. The world misreads your evolution because it cannot comprehend the architecture of your calling. They see instability where God sees increase. They see inconsistency where God sees purification. They see withdrawal where God sees consecration. They have no language for the metamorphosis happening beneath your skin. But God does. And now, so do you. Look back for a moment, not with regret, but with revelation. Every door you walked away from, every sudden reset, every silence you entered, every moment you felt alone, but guided. These were spiritual checkpoints, initiations, alignments, proof that God has been escorting you from who you thought you were into who you were always meant to become. You were being built for clarity, built for leadership, built for spiritual vision others will one day depend on. And now, the atmosphere around your life is shifting. Can you feel it? That subtle but undeniable pull. That rising sense that something is approaching. Something you've been prepared for without even knowing it. That is your purpose gathering momentum. That is your anointing increasing its pressure. That is destiny stepping closer with every breath you take. You are standing at the threshold of becoming. The version of you that survived the darkness is not the version that will walk into the light. You are emerging with sharper intuition, deeper resilience, purer motives, and a spiritual force that can no longer be ignored. You are not who you were last year, last month, even yesterday. Something in you has awakened, something irreversible, something sacred. So step forward, boldly, deliberately, prophetically. The life ahead of you is not waiting for permission. It is waiting for recognition. And when you speak your agreement into existence, heaven moves. If this message ignited that fire within you, if you felt something shift as you listened, then declare it in the comments right now. I am ready for my purpose. Let those words become your covenant with the future. Let them anchor your spirit. Let them seal the transformation God has already begun in the unseen parts of your soul. And let this moment mark the turning point. The moment you understood once and for all that you were never being destroyed, you were being activated for greatness.